Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So I have been unfortunately unable to really see what the process has been for consumption on this barn here. It's here in February. Now the cows are still at 100% health. They have 35,000 liters of food available to them, so we're still good. I'm out of hay, which is what I'm coming up here to get at this point. Hoping I don't have any weird problem. I think I was hitting the wall. Yes, I was. Wow, that's loud. Again, so I apologize for that. But I'm going to at least get this done because I really have like 2 minutes to go ahead and get something done here, but I don't want to run into a problem because I don't know exactly when I'll be able to return. Now I have synced the server, so it is at the correct time here. It had drifted about 4 hours further away. I think it was like 3:30 in the morning when I joined up here, so I had to move it about 3.5 hours. But yeah, just been engaged in other things, and unfortunately, knowing that it was winter, I didn't have a lot of concern that anything was going to be needed as far as my attention. Whoops, I think I just pulled a tiny bit too far. So we can get that done. And then this should allow this to continue on. So there's 198,000 liters of silage left from the 345. There's also clearly a good amount of straw, probably more than what I just did. So let's just take a quick peek here. So yeah, 255,000 liters of slurry, 129,000 liters of milk. You can see the food. And now you can see the hay. Straw 66,000, so a little bit more. And the mineral feed had gone from like 27,000 to 8,600. So there's a good amount of consumption, but I should be good for a little bit. So I'll be back later and we'll take it from there. So I'll see you in a bit. So best laid plans. I'm back 2 days later. So first thing I need to do is sync the server a bit. Alright, so I'm having a bit of a chat with one of the FMs. They're curious if I want to buy some silage. That's something I wasn't entirely aware that we could do, but I'm also mixing in my head, I think, generational farming and just general FSN. Because I know we've certainly talked about perhaps, you know, on other maps and other FMs going ahead and, hey, I'll sell you my crop and you can put it in your production and so forth. So the situation that I have here is once again, well, somehow amazingly we haven't run out of things even though it's been a couple days. But I need to spend some time really getting this thing topped up. So I'm going to be running trucks back and forth and getting everything topped up, and in the meantime I'll go ahead and continue to have this conversation so that you don't have to watch me stopping and typing and or I'm sitting there editing around it like I do many times. And I'm going to get that done, but now that it's April, I have to take a look because I might also be able to, in the next day or two, maybe even today, I just, again, don't know if I'm going to have time, get crop in the ground, but I'm just trying to at least make some progress here. So let me go get silage. I'm going to get the BGA filled because I'm certain that's empty, and get the cows going, but I'll be back in a bit. Alright, just popping back very quickly as I continue to do things. Not anywhere near filling anything up, so I've still got some work to do. But just wanted to share the fact we've come to an agreement. I'm going to buy as much silage as he wants to sell if he fills the BGA and fills the cow barn, because it saves me some time. And so we've kind of come to the agreement of 210,000 per liter, which is more than he's going to be able to get in game, and probably more than he's going to be able to get on the open market. If you sell silage bales right now on FSN, you are able to do that for $68 a thousand, but it is April. But on the server, it's $151,000 or $151 a thousand right now. But I'm going to have to step away from a little bit. Alright, so he said it looks like it works. So hopefully then we'll have an agreement. I think he said he's going to have about $750,000. And if this works, then it's going to simplify my life for grass. And since, once again, like, I thought I'd have time, and again I got into chatting and this and that, and I certainly don't want to be unfriendly to people. That's part of why I love FSN, is we can sit and work with each other and chat and so forth. So it was a wonderful use of my time, but I only have so much of it, and once again I'm kind of full, so I'm gonna have to stop for a bit. I'm not gonna be able to come back for hours again, so it may still take me days to get this barn running, because all he's going to be supplying me with is silage, but it gives him an outlet for the grass operation. Now, initially, what I did want to share, I'll be open, and I guess if he decides he doesn't like the agreement, then we just won't do things, perhaps. But I can make more with the silage and the BGA, because basically if you kind of run the calculations of what I've been getting, which is about $14,000 a day of income from the BGA, what that turns into is basically it's about 25 cents a liter, or roughly $250 a thousand, then is what the value is of how the BGA processes it, because you can put in 2,120 units of silage and you get 636 liters of digestate, and that digestate is then what gets sold. And so basically running that backwards and saying, hey, I'm doing 13,000 in a day, which basically is a little over 50,000. I think it's 50,880 is what it works out to in the cycles that runs at. And I've been having a miserable time trying to keep that thing full. Like, I just looked to try to get numbers when I was calculating this as we were talking. I haven't even had BGA income on anything that shows up on the sheet anymore, which means it's been 5 or 6 months since I've had silage in that BGA. So, aside from the fact that he's able to sell silage. God, this trigger is so tiny here. Like, I literally have to be snugged up against the barn. I'm not sure if you saw it when I did the last load, but I pulled up here before when he was waiting to kind of show him where it shows up, because part of his concern was he couldn't see any trigger points, and I told him, well, at the barn there aren't any. You just eventually see them when the truck pulls up, but even at the BGA he doesn't see the icons. So, but obviously he said it worked. But my hope is, he's getting far more. That's why I wanted to offer him a little bit of a premium at least. I mean, because he was happy with 200, and I said, well, I'll offer you 210 if you agree to, kind of take over the monitoring of that and just running me up a couple loads of silage every day. So, yeah, as you can see, he'll do a 1-year agreement, and then we'll work out how it'll work out, and then we can discuss how to proceed later on. So that's certainly reasonable, and I'll do that. I just let him know that if he's willing to do, like, I'd be willing to just run that perpetually, because it's a win-win for both of us. I mean, just like anything in business, I mean, nobody buys material for more money than they can make with it, and I'm basically doing the same thing, where I'm paying him $210. I'm in essence going to be able to make a, what is it, 10-20% markup on that, which I would say is pretty reasonable on income. And that's, if he's putting it in there, that there's a challenge of, like, if it goes in the barn, and if most of what he gives me goes in the barn, because obviously the cows, as we said, it can use 345,000 liters over there. So, but what I don't know is then, is it going to process through that in a year, because I haven't had to fill up any silage, and I haven't run out of silage. The only thing I've run out over there has been the straw. So that 345,000 I put in there has been there for several days. It just, I don't remember when I ran everything over there. I think it was in the fall, so it's probably been half a year. But that could mean the barn's using 700,000, but again, I'm generating milk from that then, with them feeding and so forth. And while I could do this myself, kind of for free, because I just mow my grass, like, I still have to mow my grass to get hay. So it's not as if he can do everything, but it gets me some things, and I'm willing to do that because I know I'm not losing money. Because initially I was like, yeah, I'll do it just for something different, because normally this isn't something you can do in Farming Simulator easily, but here we can just sell to each other, and I've agreed, I'll pay him quarterly. Alright, so it looks like I've filled this up at this point, and everything's good. So I'm going to step away a bit for now, and then I'll continue to work on things, and whenever I get back and actually have this barn done and I'm ready to kind of figure out what I'm doing next, I'll go from there. In the meantime, it looks like I need to go take a look at this agreement, and we'll go from there. So I'll see you in a bit. I am back. I was trying not to get in. I need to disconnect this, but I got in because it's just automatic. Alright, we'll leave that there, but I need to now go ahead and start moving some milk over to the dairy, because I need to start getting some more detail. So, here's where we sit. It's been running for a couple hours at this point, but in essence, what we are doing across the hay, silage, straw, and mineral feed, we are consuming 4,500 liters an hour across those products to produce an increase of 1,000 liters of food per hour. So at the top of the next hour, it'll go to 5142. That's obviously with the 240 cows. So at this point, basically, we're creating, the cows are eating 3,500 liters if it's a 1-to-1, which is typically, obviously, what happens, say, if you do it in a TMR mixer. There's no waste, there's no consumption or anything. Now, the strange thing with the sizing is, if you recall, hay, straw, mineral feed, those all cap out at 147,000. I'm going to go ahead and add more mineral feed over time, although I don't have a huge rush there. I don't have the numbers right in front of me right now, but it's something in the neighborhood of 214 liters of mineral feed is used per hour. It's 1,684 liters of hay and silage per hour, and then I think it's 918 of straw, which is why the straw was still there, but I had run out of hay. The reason I don't have the straw full is that is all I have. I emptied out the excess that I had. So at this point, part of what we're going to see through this year is, am I going to have enough straw off that small field to even keep myself going and feeding the cows perpetually for the whole year or not? I can plant things up until tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. I'll probably get to planting tonight. It's obviously a very small field. It doesn't take very long. So unless something really strange happens, I will still get that field planted today so it gets grown, and then I can harvest and get more straw and just continue moving along. But that gives you the details for where we're at here. So what that translates into, and what I was saying is the strange thing, the silage has a capacity of 345,000, but it gets consumed at the same rate that the hay does, which has a capacity of 147,000. So I'm sure when the FSN folks made the changes, they just made them based on the fact that there was 120,000 silage and 100,000 hay and 100,000 straw, and then kind of adjusted accordingly to make things work. But you're going to run out of hay a lot faster than you're going to run out of silage. So you can go about 8.5 days if the silage is full. And with the mineral feed, if you fill it to the 147,000, that will last nearly a month. It'll be like 28 plus days before you use 140,000 liters of mineral feed. So that is what we're looking at. But the good news is, as opposed to the old cow barn before they fixed this, where with 240 cows I was basically kind of running out of feed in less than 24 hours. Now that's not the case. It's going to take at least 3.5 days or so before the one product is out, I think, which is hay. So hay is my big one. I have a lot of hay stored away, which is a great thing. Why am I going way up here? I need to go get the tanker, which is sitting over here, because I still don't have a yard, because I'm still waiting for those 2 parcels to come up and still waiting for 24 to come up. So again, a few auctions have appeared. We did have kind of a explosion, a flurry, a plethora, whatever word, of a cornucopia, you know, the horn of plenty, whatever word you prefer. We had constantly had an auction up and active for, I'd say, 2 weeks. And then in some cases we even had, I thought I had connected, obviously not. In some cases we had 2 auctions that were active in the same time period that overlapped. So there was definitely a lot going on. Clearly I can't get this thing connected. Whoops. Gotta reverse it when I'm in there, not jump around on the ground. It's the same key, the space bar, so I was not jumping for joy on purpose. It just kind of happened as I was trying to operate the controls. So yeah, but that's the situation. I don't remember what I was saying, but at this point I want to get the milk out so that I can then tell what I need to do as far as, you know, how long it takes to fill up with the cow production, because what I don't know, right now I'm full with 180,000 liters of milk, and I don't know then what that, how quickly that fills up. Obviously it filled up before I fully ran out of food, because the cows did not go all the way up. So I think it's sized well. It makes it realistic. I mean, certainly being in the server even over the winter or something, every 3 days. Really? Wow. When did this change? I swear I was able to do a full thing of milk. Maybe I'm crazy. I swear in Shellbrook I was able to take 60,000 liters of milk to the market, but now it's maxing me out. Oh wait, no, it can't be 60,000 or whatever. I'm 76% full. I don't know. Alright, now I gotta figure out the best way, so let me circle around. If I was paying attention, I would have realized the output was there, so let me circle around the dairy, figure out how I can get in. I'm still struggling with the mineral feed, the best way to get in there, because the trigger point is so small, and I almost need to back in parallel to the building, but I have an idea of something to try. So as I add more mineral feed, I don't know that I'm going to add the whole thing, but I probably will. It's not like I don't have the money, but I'm hoping here I can just pull through like this and get the milk into the dairy. So there we go. Now let's take a look at the production. So there we go. So we have butter and we have cheese, potentially. Question is one better than the other? So let's just look at what we've got here. So I can sell butter for 800 to 900. It is, what, April? So it's actually kind of low, but it doesn't look like it gets even above 1,000. So, and then I can sell cheese for substantially more. So let's see. So we're at about 1,700. You know, I could sell it for 1,800 if I really wanted to. At this point, my only option to sell these is in-game. Now, there's work being done in FSN, and it's possible that by the end of this month, by the end of March of 2023, we're going to be able to sell product through customs as we do crops and so forth right now. So that would give us another secondary market, and obviously we'd have to look at things based on the pricing there. But as things sit with the recipes we've got, where 15 milk is going to make 13 butter, or 3 milk is going to make 2 cheese, I need basically 1,500, not basically, I need 1,500 milk to make 1,000 liters to get that payout of 1,800, which turns into roughly $1.20 per liter of cheese. If I go ahead and make butter with this mixture, I need not quite 1,200. I need about 1,183 liters or so of milk to make, I think it's 1,185, to make 1,000 liters of butter, which I could sell for half the price, which that turns into about 78 cents per liter of butter. So cheese is by far more lucrative. Now, the thing I always get kind of confused on, and sometimes it depends how the production is built in the back, because I've seen things, for example, that it doesn't mean we're going to get 1,200 in at the end of the month, and some of that is because of this ratio. So I'm assuming it's going to run 1,200 of these cycles, so it's going to take 3,600 milk in this case and make that math I unfortunately didn't do. So, but 2/3 of that, which I guess would be 2,400. So it's going to make 2,400 cheeses, or 2,400 liters of cheese a month is what we get. So we'll see if that's the case, but the short point is, because I'm not in a rush, I'm not looking to move things substantially quickly at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see at this point, I'm just going to activate the cheese because that's the most lucrative thing I can do with my material. And so ultimately what I need to find out is, once I start, now that I've taken milk away, I'll be able to monitor if I get this all done by the end of the hour, which I would imagine I could. That's one of the reasons I put the dairy right here, because now even if I've got to run these tiny batches, as we see, of 27,000 liters or whatever it is, I can get 180,000 liters, so it's 5 or 6 trips, but 5 or 6 trips with a, I don't know, couple hundred yards, it's probably not even that far. I don't know how you measure things in Farming Simulator. I'm sure there's a way. I guess I could use the measure tool, but it's probably really not worth it. But I'm ridiculous enough that someday I'll probably do it. Maybe that day is going to be today, but whatever this drive is, basically running under 25,000 liters of milk over every time is going to be pretty quick, as opposed to driving it into town. But then again, there's a dairy at the corner of the street. So the other challenge I'm potentially going to have is, can the dairy keep up with the cows? Or am I producing so much milk that it's just not going to work? But this is what we're going to start to discover. So I need to figure out that segment. I don't know. I probably won't get that done in this case in this same episode. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know that I want to wait forever to put this out. I'm trying to unload the milk here. That's the key I hit. That doesn't work because A, I'm empty, and B, milk isn't accepted here. It's provided here. So, trying to walk and chew gum at the same time, and I'm failing when I'm trying to transfer milk and talk at the same time. So what I do want to see, however, is, it doesn't look like capacity-wise I can fit 180,000 liters of milk in here. Goodness, I thought it was pouring milk. It's not. Because I'm about halfway full. I'm guessing this has a capacity of 100,000. And what I've typically found is if you start producing both, you're not necessarily doing as well. Like you're not going to get double the output. But that was also just like with the fermenting silo where I was doing hay and grass. And then in the end I was still getting the same amount of silage, because it was kind of 1-to-1 and it basically split the load between the two. So I'm not sure even if I turned on butter and cheese at the same time if it would matter. So those are the things I'm going to have to figure out. One of the reasons I wanted to kind of see how productions might work, because it just adds a new feature in here. So yeah, I think I'm going to take this load, and that will probably be it. I suppose I could fill up the dairy and go from there, or the tanker, and at least have it empty, but there's not really a reason to do that. So you can see I've already got 7 liters of cheese. Now in a single player game, you could go ahead and sell it directly. I suppose we could do the same thing here. I don't actually know what pricing it would do, but I think for realism and so forth, to kind of go with the spirit of FSN, I'm going to store it and then take it and go sell it. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead. I should be okay here. I'm not sure if I'm doing something like this where, well, yeah, this would be the same as a trigger if I put that over there. So let me leave this here, because at the cow point I can't do anything with milk, so that shouldn't cause any issues. But this would be the same as leaving, say, a trailer at a silo trigger, which we're asked not to do from a stability standpoint, because in essence this is a milk silo, and we'd then be sitting there with an empty trailer. So I want to leave that there. But yeah, it's probably 100,000. I don't want to test it and then have a bunch of milk sitting there. So at this point, 82,128 liters. And then what I'm going to want to see is at the end of the hour when it flips, what do I get? I'm getting 2,500 liters of slurry every hour, by the way. That was something else I was able to see. And actually, we're not going to produce milk for a bit because I think we've got to get our productivity up. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Because their health never dropped below 100%, but I'm wondering if now, because they couldn't produce because it was full, if their productivity dropped, and now I need to wait for it to go up. So I will go ahead and do that. Now, I'll keep an eye on that, and so basically what I'll do is if I find out at, say, 1,400 hours, well, I should still be nearby and be able to take a peek and see if I can see what's happening. Then I can start to understand the output eventually with the cheese. That I'm not worried about, but I want to see how much milk gets produced every hour. And then once I see what the consumption is in a day or so for the dairy, I can start to figure out if things are sized appropriately or if I'm going to need to be selling milk elsewhere. I don't know if suddenly the dairy's consuming more than I'm producing, if I'm too worried about that either. Again, the goal is just kind of have some income going on. It's not fully passive income in any way because I have to feed the cows, I have to move things around, but it's easier to deal with than crops, and more importantly, it's present all the time. All right, so if I go back to cheese now, and butter, I think, oh, butter has extra because I can sell butter at the bakery as well. But other than that, they are the same. So the Bubba Gump Farmers Market, the campsite, the saloon, and Hobo's Farmers Market. Bubba Gump Farmers Market is here. Hobo's Farmers Market is there, and again, I am up here. So those points are not convenient in any way. The campsite is here. Also not incredibly convenient. This is not looking well. The question is, do I have anything up here that is going to purchase it? Okay, the bakery is right there. So if I don't want to travel basically to the other end of the map, I mean, in essence, that's what it is. I'm up here while I'm not fully into this area. I'm a good enough ways there. And then I'd have to go here or here or here to sell. If I don't want to travel all that distance, my only sell point is the bakery. Or wait, that's for butter. The Circle C Saloon. I need to find that. So I may start determining that I don't want to travel that far to deliver cheese, but we'll see. Alright, so the Circle C Saloon is there, halfway down the road, basically over by FSN. So it'd be the same, for the most part, once we can start exporting, where it's really literally the same decision of do I take it to the saloon, or do I export it off the map. And at this point, it's not quite the highest, but that's the thing. I don't know that the price difference is different enough. So, but this is something to think about, where delivering butter, super simple, but it might be worth that premium, which is really, what, 50 cents or so, 40 cents for sure, 42 cents on 78 cents, so it's over 50% more to sell cheese, make cheese and sell it, than it is butter, as far as the value I get from my milk. So it's going to be interesting. So I'll take a look at that. I should know in a little while. And again, if they don't produce any milk at the turn, I'm going to come back here and, you know what, I'm not going to come back here. I'm going to go ahead right now, and because otherwise I'm just sitting around, and I do have some time. So let me go plant that field. think I'm just going to do oats again. There's no reason not to. There is, however, a reason not to be running up the field to my tractors, especially since this one's over here. So let me go get my seed hawk, and we're going to get ourselves over there, and we'll get the oats planted, and we'll be in good shape here. So that'll all be great. It's possible, in fact, probably highly likely, that I'm going to get this done before the first time that there's any milk coming out and increasing the capacity there, but it's going to be an interesting way that these productions come together, or that this farm work comes together at this point. But I'm thinking the straw is going to be interesting, so we're going to have to see. Alright, so we've got this connected. So yeah, so the challenge I have right now is it's going to take me 6 2/3 days if I fill up the straw to consume it all. And the reason I had the straw in the barn was I had filled the silo. So I do not have a year's worth of straw off of field 26, which is not surprising. Field 26 is not very big, so I would have expected nothing less. So let's see. I think again I ran the part down here and ran across, because otherwise I don't have enough room to turn around. So let me unfold all this and get myself down here. Obviously I'm on oats because that was the last thing I planted. Is the same thing I will plant now. I think we have weeds, clearly. So I am going to have to do some weed spraying, so that's going to involve some additional work there. So I think what I'm going to do, because I think I might have a good sized amount of content already, I'm going to do the typical thing I normally do, where I'm likely going to split the episode now that I know I need to... Well, maybe not, because all I need to do is plant. I can do the spraying. I have to do the spraying tomorrow, so never mind. We'll just go ahead and do this all at this point. So let's see. Whoops, I don't want to do X. That's folding. I want to lower. And then at this point, I want to turn this on. And we're going to start planting us some oats. So with the direct seeder, this will all be good. It'll obviously fertilize, because I've got the sensor on the tractor and it's daylight. That's key. I can go ahead and get everything properly done with my precision farming. So again, kind of trying to keep track of a few things here, figuring out how I want to do this. Thinking there's just not a great way, and I think rather than playing around, I'm just going to run all the way back to the other end. I'm going to run across. I think having 2 passes is enough to be able to effectively turn around. I think up there I was just able to turn. So just obviously need to make sure I have everything off, because otherwise when I'm swinging in the grass like that, that would be a problem. Now, now I'm fine here. But yeah, we didn't seem to have weeds in the first crop, but obviously once we harvested they did show up, which is what I would have expected. But I'm also not expecting a whole lot. There shouldn't be any new rocks coming up with this, so that's one of the benefit of the direct seed. And now I want to run this edge, because I'd prefer not to be doing a lot of turning on the field right there. Not sure if I'm going to get around enough here. This is a large implement. Let's just be honest. Alright. So, I can do this, and then we'll run this pass here, and then I will start going up and down. So I do have a way here that I can set my GPS for a little bit. I'm going straight up and down, which will be should be enough to give me my 15 meters, I would think. Alright, it did not yell at me, so I think I'm fine. I do not want to go off the field, so I want to be careful. Kind of tempted. I think I just will, just for the goodness of getting it done. Alright, and yeah, when I tried there in the corner, remember, I ran over my crop and ruined a little bit there. Alright, so now we've got our lines. And we'll go ahead. Not really a concern about keeping things where they need to be. I'm trying to remember. I think this was a straight edge. The other grass field has a little bit of variation on the side there, but this does not. So now we can go ahead, and I think again it's 4 passes. And well, it might be 5, because I think there's the little bits at the end over there. But either way, it's not too much. But now that we've kind of played around and danced around the edge, we're going to have this done pretty quickly. And then we'll have our crop in the ground, and oats just take 4 days. But I can't get through a year-long cycle with the straw that I've got, so that just reinforces the need that I'd really like to get field 24, make that my crop field, and then I'll just have to make a decision of, do I hang on to this field for some reason to be able to plant a variety, but right now I don't know that that would be something I'd really want to do, because again, I'm not looking to do lots and lots of work. I don't think I have that need. I may not have gone out far enough. We'll see how this comes together. As long as it just moves 1, which it looks like it did, I think I'll be alright. Because yes, if I can avoid wasting time touching up the field, that would be much preferred. But what I can do then with the large field is what I was doing in Shellbrook, which is get a lot of straw off that field to then have several years worth of straw each harvest, so that I don't really have to pick up the straw every time. But I may still do that, because then I have the option of selling it or just going even longer without needing to harvest. I don't know. I'm sure, just like with everything, it'll come down to, do I have time? And what I really want with the farm is some flexibility. I'm at that point in the farming career with the amount of money I have, the amount of money I have saved. I'm not driving to just make more and more and more. I have millions and millions of dollars, and I'm just looking to have fun on the farm and kind of keep things moving, but not turn it into a chore, that's for sure. And again, with generational farming going on, I'm going to have my hands full for quite some time in that as well. So, and then we've got, other things going on that I'm certainly interested in as well. Really enjoy what I'm doing with the VIP series as kind of my single player work and so forth. So I've got a lot of things that I can do and devote time to in Farming Simulator. And so my feeling right now is likely once I get 24, I'm just going to sell 26 back, because I don't need it. This is just a stopgap at this point to let me do something. But what will end up happening is the cows will stop having food for a while. The question is, are they going to have enough? Because I certainly have run out of straw a few times. I just don't know exactly when. Once I had everything operating. So the question is, will I have enough that the cows won't run dry or won't run empty? It's not, I don't think it's making wet food for them. I don't think TMR is like fancy feast for cats that's like moist food or anything. But I don't know. Alright, let me turn this off. Suppose I didn't need to raise it. I just needed to turn it off to move faster. I was realizing it's going to take me 4 minutes to get down the field if I do that, and there's no reason for that, that's for sure. Alright, so this should be good. There we go. So yeah, I haven't really been keeping track of the seeds because precision farming will do that for me. Oh, again, I didn't turn it off, I raised it, but I really need to turn it off. Alright. And there we go. So we are done, and much as I thought would be the case, we are done 4 minutes before we're going to get our data point for the cow milk, so, or hopefully get our data point. So I'm going to get this thing over to the other side of the field. I'm going to get it parked. You don't need to journey along with me for that. I think you've heard me babble on long enough with everything else that's been going on in this episode. And in a few minutes, we'll see if we have more milk or if I need to wait. And if I need to wait, then I'll just update you likely in the video when I'm doing the weeding, which would be the next episode. So I will see you in a bit either way to inform you of what's happening. So see you in a couple minutes. Alright, so we have turned the clock, but we've got 82236. So it's only 108 liters, but we're at 8% productivity. So I'm thinking that means we're going to get more than that once we're at 100% productivity. So it looks like it's going to take several hours for the cows to kind of ramp back up. But if it just works linearly and works with math, which it probably does, given that this is a simulation on a computer, 108 liters in an hour at 8% productivity translates into 1,350 liters per hour. So we're going to see if that's what we're really getting, but we'll find that out later. I'll just monitor that for next time, so I'll give you an update in the next episode. And I'll also do a little bit more work in figuring out how everything I've got here works together. I really like how everything looks. The trees are spaced out nicely. It just seems like a real farm now. I'm really kind of tickled with how this is turning out so far. If I can just get that field. And of course those 2 parcels. So I've got a lot to look forward to really get this place to be where I envision it to be. Oh, and more importantly, we've got 42 liters of cheese. So cheese is producing away as well, but what that means is it's used about 120 liters of milk in the time I've produced 108. So I think we're already starting to get our view of, are the cows going to outproduce the dairy? I think the answer is very clear that the cows are going to produce significantly faster than the dairy can take it. Once again, my option may be switch to butter or do something else to move through things quicker, or I can just sell milk or just let the cows not be productive for a while. I don't know. I'll figure it out. At the end, it's just a sim. But I've gone on and on long enough. I don't know that I like had enough room, or like thing I just realized, like here compared to Shellbrook, like in Shellbrook it was just like sitting in the middle of a field. Like this feels like someone would build this way, where what I did in Shellbrook just felt like I've got no room for this thing, let's just throw it here. I think that's honestly, if I think back to a few moments ago, I think that's what I'm really liking about it. Like this feels possible, where in Shellbrook it just felt like someone dropped it down from a UFO or something and said, here we shall have cows in the middle of a field, and it didn't make any sense. But once again, I'm continuing to babble, but yeah, I didn't have enough room to like even look and see that there was this wonderful window that lets light in there, so when the cows are inside, they're not in this dark enclosure with just a tiny little sunroof and stuff. So that's really cool. So the things you see even after you've had something for years on your farm before. So with that, I'm going to let you get going. Hopefully, if you've liked this, please drop me a like. It helps these videos get spread around YouTube, and hopefully we'll get some new viewers to come aboard and follow us along here in FSN in our real-time farming situation that goes with real-time in the real world here. So, somewhat. Obviously, we're covering 12 days. We're covering a year in 12 days. But anyway, I'm just going to go off on another tangent and talk for 10 more minutes if I don't shut up. So, like the video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already so that you can keep up to date with what's going on the channel. And I'll see you next time.